We're ready to go then for the first day of the World Grand Prix, live from Hong Kong. Mark Williams against Stuart Bingham for a place in the round of 16. The first of 4 frames to go through. The winner to play either Wu Yize or Pang Zhengzhu. They're in action later. Mark Williams, 3 times world champion, to get us underway. He's never won this tournament. He's been in 3 quarterfinals, including last year when he lost to Chow Yipeng in a decider. But of course, he is the reigning Tour Championship champion, which is part of this trilogy of tournaments. Stuart Bingham with an early opportunity. And it's a warm welcome to the commentary box to Dominic Dale. Hi, Dominic.
Yes, hello everybody. It's great to be back commentating for TNT Sports this time. Stuart Bingham, as Phil has alluded to, has an early opportunity here. Surprising one from the bungled break-off shot of Mark Williams. It's gone astray, and it's amazing in snooker, isn't it, how many times you can make a mistake and it actually benefits you. So that poor break-off shot from Mark Williams has actually given him an early opportunity, and he has an angle here to play for the black. I suppose you'd have to make Mark Williams the favourite to win this match, but Stuart Bingham, of course, a great player, made 9 1-4-7s, won 15 professional titles, 6 of them world ranking titles, including, of course, the World Championships 10 years ago now. But I think it's fair to say Stuart Bingham's form is a little unpredictable. Still puts in the odd great performance here and there, but interspersed with some poor performances.
Williams comes into this tournament in 6th place on the one-year list, so he's sitting pretty in terms of all 3 of the Players Series events. Just seen his fellow class of 92 great John Higgins win a 32nd ranking title, winning at the World Open at the expense of Joe O'Connor to end a 4-year drought for Higgins. But of course, Williams has been able to stay consistent in terms of winning the big tournaments on a regular basis at the back end of his career, when you consider that the year before he won his 3rd World Championship, he nearly quit the game 50. After he failed to qualify that season for the Crucible. It's amazing what he's continuing to do. That shot is all his own, and that break has ended rather earlier than he would have liked, as he covered the red. It would appear he has, at least the potting angle of it anyway.
Just look where that cue ball stopped, right in front of the blue. Stuart coming off the side cushion, probably to attempt to pot the red. Oh, that's a big misjudgment, didn't hit it at all. But if he cannons the brown half ball, he may cover it himself. Where's the cue ball finished? We'll have to wait to see. But you don't know early on just how these cushions are playing, and Stuart had to just guess there. And as you can see, the cue ball did catch the brown, and it's gone in behind the blue, so that's a big help to Stuart. Free ball possibly for Mark Williams here. Can't see both sides of any red, but that's not going to be too much use to him. I wouldn't be surprised if he put Stuart back in here.
Bingham's results this season have been disappointing. He lost 5-0 in the last 64 of the German Masters to Tepchiranu, 5-1 to Chris Totten at the World Open, and another whitewash loss at the Welsh Open to Robbie Williams. So although he comes into this tournament 28th on the one-year list, recent form has been disappointing. But as Dom mentioned, when he does put it together, as he proved at the World Championship last season, he's still a force to be reckoned with. A brilliant win over O'Sullivan in the quarterfinals at the Crucible, lost to Jack Jones in the semis.
Well, this could be an awkward frame now with that red near the left-hand corner pocket. Both players won't risk playing a safety shot into bulk. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a re-rack here.
And I'm sure Stuart Bingham would be delighted with that, not just because he's 19 behind, but the early mistakes he made. He had that initial chance, which he missed to the left corner, and then missed the red altogether, playing cushion first. So I'm sure he'd be more than satisfied to rack them up again. Players are very precious, though, about leads, aren't they? However modest they may be.
Well, Mark decided to play a safety shot there to the top cushion, which allowed Stuart to remove that red in the proximity of that left-hand corner pocket, so won't be a re-rack anymore. But Mark did take a bit of a risk there, because Stuart could have played a better safety shot and put him in trouble, but he does have an opportunity here to cut a red into the left corner, can take the cue ball around the back of the black and reds and back up towards possibly yellow, pink or blue.
Bingham is a former finalist in this tournament back in 2016. He lost a decider to Sean Murphy, and he's made 2 other semi-finals. So this is a tournament that's been kind to him.
They're never easy, these best of 7 encounters. A good start is essential, so players feel the pressure immediately, because if they do fall 1-0 behind, they desperately need to win the second frame. Stuart has a chance here to swing the cue ball around the angles, get the cue ball in behind the blue and the pink, but he needs to be a little careful that he doesn't promote a red towards the left-hand corner pocket here. But there are a couple of ways he could play this shot. He could play it just off 2 cushions, or he could play it off 4.
Not the best table right now. Pink and blue in the balk end and the black tied up. Both of these players are great break builders, of course. Bingham's made 607 career centuries. Williams 659. That was a nice shot from Bingham. Lovely contact with the red.
Yeah, that's the sort of shot that will give you a lot of confidence when you have to hit a ball so thinly like that. I think he's just asking Stuart to have a look at that to see if he's snookered or not. Mark probably feels he can just clip the faintest edge of this red. Well, he looked to be playing that with a trace of side to perhaps swerve around the pink. It looked to be snookered there for me, Mark Williams. So this won't be an easy job for our referee, Terry Camilleri, to replace the cue ball perfectly. Well, I don't think Mark will like this, because I don't think it was as snookered as that, but Mark seems to be happy with this, but this is quite a swerve he's playing here. And he's just misjudged it, but he's caught it on the way back, so... Well, no obvious harm done. There is a possible red to the right corner, but I don't think Stuart will attempt it. It's too risky.
Stuart Bingham has won 6 ranking titles, including, of course, the big one at the Crucible in 2015, a decade ago now, hard to believe, but he hasn't won one since 2019, the Gibraltar Open. And it's a pretty scratchy start from both players. Bingham has had some issues with his eyes in recent times. I know he experimented briefly with glasses, but abandoned them.
Yes, he tried contact lenses as well, and he found those quite irritable. And yeah, I don't think he's actually wearing anything at the moment. I don't think he's wearing contact lenses. I think his coach, Chris Henry, actually decided that he didn't need to wear anything at all, just to carry on as he was, and I think that's what he's doing. But he is at that age now, he's approaching 50, and your eyes do begin to fail you at times. Found the pocket there with the cue ball. Not the start to the match that Stuart was looking for. First glance, these cushions seem to be playing fairly squarely. They're not sliding off the cushion rails, the balls, as players would expect them to. That's a typical Mark Williams shot, very clever at spotting potential openings, and took on that cross double. It was a little risky. Had the red not gone in, could have gone anywhere virtually. But now he's in with a great chance, but he's misjudged his cue ball. Needs a bit of luck. He's just about on a red, perhaps to this right corner, but it's a thin one.
7. Eight.
Too much backspin on the cue ball, caught the jaws of the pocket, so not an easy red to continue the break with, but the one that's closest to the right corner, if it's available, certainly potable, and Mark could play for the pink into the left corner. But there's a little bit of pressure on this, it needs to go in.
$15.
Well, it was a little fortunate, Mark, to be on that red, but now that he's potted it, he's back in good position again.
21. $22.
Don't know if the two reds closest to the pink are available into the right centre. It's a little awkward now for Mark. He's running out of easily accessible reds.
$28. $29.
Couldn't quite push through for the pink, so with the lead that he has of 48 points, must be a good time now to put a colour safe somewhere. Decided not to, thinks he can snooker Stuart Bingham.
Mark Williams, 29.
He hasn't done.
Williams was up very quickly there. That was an uncharacteristically poor attempt at a long red. Didn't get close to it. It's a handy lead, but by no means a decisive one in this opening frame. It was a terrific run from Bingham to the semi-finals of the World Championship. Of course, he had to come through qualifying. He only just beat Stuart Carrington by the odd frame, and then Louis Heathcote 10-8. But then Gary Wilson, when he got to the Crucible, Jack Lazowski, and then Ronnie O'Sullivan. He played brilliantly at the end of that match, really did. Wasn't able to replicate that form in the semi-finals, where he lost 9 of the last 12 frames contested against Jack Jones to lose it 17-12. But it was a reminder of what Bingham is still capable of.
Well, you can see how easily Stuart Bingham is able to screw the cue ball back. The previous red that he played, I think he was astonished by how far the cue ball came back. He left himself awkward queuing for his next shot. He was so close to the side cushion, so maybe signs that there's a lot of humidity in the atmosphere there.
$15.
Stuart's form the last couple of seasons or so has shown some inconsistencies, but he still made 22 centuries this season, made 23 last season.
22.
But he's known for scoring very heavily from awkward positions such as this. He's done well to get himself back into the frame here, but things are just beginning to get a bit awkward now.
Nothing better than the round of 16 for Bingham this season. 4 times he's got that far, but no further.
29.
But it's a pretty good time of the season to find some form. And as already discussed, he's got recent happy memories of playing at the Crucible, so
30.
if he could have a good run this week, that would set him up nicely. all the players in this tournament have the possibility of featuring in the upcoming Players' Championship. For the top 16 on the one-year list, with the prize money available, of course. 180,000 to the winner. Guaranteed 10,000 just for showing up.
Key moments now in this first frame coming up. Stuart has this thin red to the right corner. It's a thin cut back though. Important that he gets this. Oh, he's just gone in. Now, what sort of an angle does he have on the pink? He's not as high up on the pink as he'd like to be. But of the two reds to the left of the black, does that left-hand one pot into the left corner? I'm not sure it does. Oh, he tried so hard to get into those reds. He's missed the cannon, and now he's put himself in trouble because he can't play a safety shot into bulk from here. He's got right back in the frame. He's just 5 points behind. But he needs to find a safety shot here, and this is awkward now. He's left himself in a position whereby he can't really do much with this.
Stuart Bingham, 43.
So all to play for in this opening frame. 43 points remaining. And although at times it's been scrappy, certainly in the early running with the high value colours awkward, they're now out in the open, so whoever gets the next chance will have a very good one to seal the frame, you would think. Where's this red going to end up? Not good for Mark Williams. So this is that chance. What an opportunity here for Bingham to pinch this first frame.
Yes, Mark thought that red was available into the right corner, but the red caught the black on the way through, and Stuart has a chance now from being a long way behind in this first frame to win it, but maybe he felt that cue ball just deviated from its true path there. And all of a sudden, he's faced with a very testing black. But can he hold for the red? He'd have to drop the black in dead weight, and that's risky.
Green.
What a let-off for Mark Williams. What an opportunity that was for Bingham, but didn't get the desired position off the red.
Both these players very tactically good, but you'd have to say Mark Williams probably has the edge. There's a lot of tablecraft. Mark Williams, very clever player. But there have been signs that perhaps this table isn't as true as it could be. But he's played a good one there. Stuart's in trouble now. Hitting the red may not be too difficult, but of course he needs to hope to get it safe.
He'll be delighted with that outcome. Now, Has Williams possibly left this red to the right centre? So, another opportunity for Bingham. Oh, that's a terrific pot. That really is well cued.
1.
Could be a frame winner.
Yeah, very surprising mistake from Mark to have left that red on. He obviously was certain that he was going to get the snooker there. Stuart's smiling about something. It's probably because he wants to pot the brown here, but he thinks that its spot is occupied by the green and it may have to go all the way down on the black spot. Brown is ideal from a point of view of getting onto the yellow, the green not quite so. But maybe he'll have to play the green. I really think he will have to. But then, of course, the problem is, if the green goes on its spot, it won't pass the brown. So no matter what he plays here, Stuart, it's not going to be any easy run to the finishing line.
Stuart Bingham 4.
So a couple of opportunities to kill this frame off have come and gone for Stuart Bingham. Jack Lazowski has taken the opening frame on table 2, by the way, against Zhang Anda. The winner of this to play the Wu Yize or Pang Zhengzhu in the last 16 in the top half of the draw.
Can Stuart clip the thin edge of the yellow? If he can't, the black is right in his path to come off that right-hand side cushion and play the escape easily. If he has to come towards the yellow from this left-hand side cushion, it's much more difficult. You can see he can probably catch the faintest edge of the yellow, but Stuart would be concerned that he'd miss it altogether and leave a free ball. I think he's playing the right shot here, just to try and come off 2 or 3 cushions, just rest upon the yellow. Well, the pace is pretty good. Oh, just a fraction short.
Mark Williams 4. Foul, miss. Mark Williams 4.
Well, played the escape well, but he may be in trouble again very shortly. A chance here for Mark to once again snooker Stuart Bingham. Just needs to be careful that the yellow doesn't catch the middle pocket jaws, and it hasn't. pretty sure the yellow will pass the pink to the left centre, but it's probably thinner than it may appear. But if Mark can drop it in, he may well be on the green to the same pocket. Oh, good effort. Play for the green, pass the blue into its own pocket, but he's just short of pace. Still anybody's frame, work to do here. If Mark attempts a green, he'll have to go around the table for position on the brown, you feel.
Mark Williams, 2.
Not easy, but it is a third opportunity for Bingham. If he can strike this green sweetly to clinch the opening frame. And this time it's Bingham who's left one right over the pocket, so the chance falls to Williams. It's been quite an eventful first frame, scrappy to start with. Both players have had their opportunities. This is another one.
Three.
Controlled the cue ball beautifully there. That was not an easy positional shot to play by any means, but he's played it perfectly. So just this blue required to take a rather eventful opening frame in the end. Pretty lengthy opening frame, but it looks as though it's going to fall to the former 3-time world champion Mark Williams.
12.
2 snookers required.
Mark Williams, 12 in the frame.
Stuart Bingham concedes, and he'll be more than a little frustrated because he had 2 opportunities himself to kill the frame off, good ones, in fact 3 in all, but it's Williams who leads by 1 frame to 0.
Thank you. Second frame, Stuart Bingham to break.
Hopeless. Apologies for missing the break-off. Not the best one from Stuart Bingham, but happily for him, he's covered the red to the right centre pocket. Well, that's much more like the Mark Williams we're used to from long range. He missed one by quite a margin into the opposite corner in the first frame, but that was very much on point. And having won the opening frame, which he probably should have lost in the end, he'll certainly have a spring in his step.
But again, he tried to screw back a foot or so there and screw back nearly 2 feet. He surprised himself there with the amount of reaction out the cue ball. And it's humidity that causes that to happen. Sometimes you try to screw back 6 or 8 inches and you screw back at least twice as far as that. And it does confuse you as a player sometimes. You don't quite know where you are. But Mark immediately playing for the red closest to the black, because once this one is removed, opens the black up into both of its pockets. And all of a sudden now this is a good scoring chance for Mark Williams. Can cannon into the red here, directly above the black, to leave himself on the other one next to it.
21.
A couple of years ago, Mark Williams' stated goal for the remainder of his career was to still be among the world's top 16 by the time he turned 50. Well, that's happening this month. And he's very easily achieved that ambition. Currently 5 in the world, 6 on the one-year list. Oh, in goes the blue with the red. I don't think Williams realised initially. It was such a thin cut. Lots happened in a blur there.
Stuart Bingham 5.
Keep your eye on the blue. Extraordinary. If you tried that another 1,000 times, you wouldn't do it.
Wow, that's an incredible fluke. Now, Stuart's made a bit of a hash of that. He was trying to get the cue ball in behind the black on the top cushion there, but got too much backspin on the cue ball. We've seen that type of mistake already from a few shots played. We're into frame 2. Players over screwing the cue ball, but it benefited Stuart there because he fluked the red and he was on the black. So ball run Bingham
8.
has a wonderful chance here. Amazing how the game can turn in an instant. The cushions are playing a little squarely. That's why the red found the yellow pocket instead of coming off the side cushion,
16.
which Stuart intended it to. Too much backspin on the cue ball. So instead of being
17.
behind the black, he was actually on it. And all of a sudden, he's in a position now where he'd probably be disappointed if he doesn't go on to take the frame now and level the match up at 1-1.
.24. .25.
There's no doubt that Bingham in full flow is one of the most attractive players in the game. Wonderful break builder, very attacking player. And the way he won the world title was remarkable, really, when you consider the trio of scouts that he collected
32.
to win the prize. Ronnie O'Sullivan, Judd Trump, and then Sean Murphy in the final. Having at one stage been 4 frames adrift in that final.
33.
And of course, since then, he's added the Masters, beating fellow Essex cueist Ali Carter a couple of seasons ago.
Yes, he's a player of terrific pedigree, Stuart Bingham. I'm rather surprised he's actually only won 6 world ranking events. Because he plays the same sort of game
40.
as all the game's great players. Such an attacking player, such a wonderful break builder. And he certainly has the belief that he can beat anybody, because he has on many occasions. And of course he does lead the head-to-head over his opponent here, Mark Williams, by 7 matches to 6.
.48.
Of course, it was Mark Williams that Stuart Bingham defeated
54.
when winning his first ever ranking event title back in Australia in 2011. He was a couple of frames behind
55.
in the final, and significantly behind as well at one stage, and in the next frame, but won it and lifted his first world ranking crown.
He's one of those players who undoubtedly benefited from the sheer volume of snooker that was introduced to the sport when Barry Hearn took over as World Snooker Chairman. Prior to that, there had only been half a dozen ranking events, and if you
62.
lost early, you might have to wait months to play again. But the sheer volume of opportunities to play was of enormous benefit to someone like Bingham, who got used to winning, beating the best. And the rest is history. What a career he's had. 2 of the 3 Triple Crown titles in the bag. Now 48 years of age. He did get lucky at the start of this break, but the rest of it has been very nicely taken, and in the process expunging the disappointment of losing the opening frame, which he might well have won.
$73. 75. 78.
Break goes to 78, so should he pop the remaining 4 colours, he'll just about
82.
have enough on for the century. Be a century dead, in fact, and that would be career century number 608.
87. 93.
Well, this always looked likely to be an attractive match, and it's beginning to look that way now. Well played, Stuart Bingham. He did get lucky at the start of the frame. He apologises again to Mark Williams, but it was a superb even 100 nonetheless to level at 1 frame all here in Hong Kong.
Thank you. Frame 3. Mark Williams to break.
And he'll be playing Gary Wilson in that match. Just underway then in frame 3. And Stuart Bingham straight back in after the century break, admittedly launched by a fluke, but now very much in stroke after Mark Williams took a tight opening frame, which Bingham might, perhaps should have won. For the target, of course, for a place in the round of 16 here at the World Grand Prix. We had professional snooker in the early 80s here in Hong Kong, that ranking event I mentioned earlier, back in 1989, when Mike Hallett beat Dino Kane in a decider. Of course, more recently, we've had invitational events here in Hong Kong, the Hong Kong Masters.
5.
Neil Robertson won the first of those, beating Ronnie O'Sullivan. And then O'Sullivan himself won in front of a record-shattering crowd of 9,000 people. Beat Marco Fu, the home favourite, in the title match after Fu had made a maximum in the semi-final against John Higgins.
12.
So great to have snooker back here again. Not so great for Bingham, though, to see the break end that prematurely.
Stuart Bingham, 12.
Yeah, I think Stuart realised that going into the pack of reds from the black was unlikely to work out well for him, so he just tried to cannon a red on. Well, that's a miscue, a violent miscue. Now there is a red directly above the black at the bottom of the main bunch there, and I just wonder if it's potable. Mark just tends to his tip. Has Mark got away with this? I think Stuart would be downplaying this red if it was available. Stuart's just having a look at here at 2 reds in the middle of that pack that may be set for a plant to this right corner. Does he feel he can attempt it and still get the cue ball back to bulk? I'm not sure he can. I think the cue ball cannon into another red. Needs to be very careful here, Stuart, that he doesn't make a mistake. If he does attempt the plant, probably needs to go in. Well, he was convinced it was a certainty, but as you can see, missed it by a good couple of inches or so. And what a chance he's gifted Mark Williams now.
One.
Jack Lisowski has taken that tight second frame on table 2 to lead Zhang An to 2-0.
Six. Mark Williams, 6.
Mark just beginning to make a few mistakes. There's pressure on this red because he knew he'd be giving Stuart Bingham an opportunity, and he has done. But that's gone wrong.
1.
Thought he'd cannon that red a little more fully, and he just brushed off it, and it's hidden the black, so no opportunity to continue the break now.
Stuart Bingham, 1.
Possibly the cue ball just ran off a little there, but he hasn't left the red closest to the right corner, although Mark could plant it in by using the red just to the left of the cue ball. Could be worth having a go at this because he could play the cue ball back towards bulk, just lining it up there with his cue.
Yeah, very nicely manufactured by Williams. His run to the final in Riyadh earlier this season really took care of the campaign in terms of the number of points accrued. 200,000 of them in that tournament. Of course, it was nearly 500,000, would have been had it not been for Judd Trump's brilliant intervention in the decider. But it means he's safely ensconced for all 3 of these Players Series tournaments, of which this, of course, is the first. In terms of the upcoming Players' Championship. At the moment, Ali Carter sits in 16th spot in that regard. Jack Lazowski next door, 2-0 up on Zhang Anda, is in 18th, just over 13,000 points behind Carter. So, as usual, there are many subplots, as well as the primary goal of trying to win this tournament and walk away with that first prize of 180,000 this weekend.
Was too straight on the blue to get ideal position on this next red, so a good positional shot needed now.
Well,
oh, he's played that really well. Well, this is decision time for Mark Williams. Does he decide to open the pack of reds up with the opportunity that he has here? Oh, there's your answer. You always hope to bring one of the high-value colours into play when you go into the pack of reds. I think Mark was hoping there that the red to the right of the black would be knocked out of the way of it a little, but, well, it's still okay. He still has this red. But again, needed a good positional shot, and again, he's played a beauty.
80.
Just asking referee Terry Camilleri to clean the cue ball. Is he straight enough on this red, Mark, to run through for the black into the left corner? Because it is available. And in potting the black, he may be able to cannon that red away from it a little.
$24. $29.
And that's Mark Williams' highest break of the match to date. Oh, and it ends there on 30. Goodness.
Mark Williams, 30.
So Williams a little bit scratchy so far today. Moments of excellence, not least the plant that he created to get in there, but at the moment he's not scoring.
Yeah, he's just making the odd mistake at the wrong time of the frame, and that could be very costly again.
1.
Stuart looks aghast there at the positional error. Played for the red, I think, near the right corner. He's hoping now that the red closest to the black will pot into the left corner, but does it? There's your answer, it won't go. So end of break and reprieve for Mark Williams.
Stuart Bingham, 8. One.
Stuart must be tempted to cannon into the red next to the black here. Well, personally, I'd have tried to cannon that red directly rather than off the cushion. I'm not entirely sure what Stuart had in mind there. But if he is on this red closest to the corner pocket, he's okay.
7.
Is he on the black? Just about. Well, Stuart, 1 point behind.
40.
Will certainly need that red near the side cushion there, so he has an opportunity here in potting this red to bring it into play. An opportunity I think he needs to try to take advantage of. Wow, what's he done there? Well, I think somebody's put him off there in the audience, possibly, or somebody backstage. He's missed the red, but he snookered it at least.
Well, you saw the frustration there in Williams. Whacking his thigh in annoyance at leaving this chance for Bingham. Williams' game isn't quite there yet. He's only made 1:30 break, and he's made a few mistakes as well.
1.
So Bingham with the opportunity to take the lead, and in truth it could be 3-0 to him, perhaps should be. Not won this one yet, but it's a chance.
8.
I wonder how straight he's on this red. Oh, he's okay, he's got enough angle to work with. You can see how effortlessly he's able to screw the cue ball back for the black there. Beginning to get completely used to the conditions now and the way the cloth is reacting. Worrying times now for Mark Williams.
60.
Stuart beginning to find his form a little. Mark just struggling a little bit.
Well, you wouldn't credit it. What an opportunity he spurned there. It'll be Bingham's turn to be furious about that one. Pretty routine by rest standards. Straight yellow, he can't believe it. And now Williams, who showed his annoyance a moment ago, can forget about that. Looks like he's going to be leading 2-1.
5.
Yes, and Mark, like all great champions, will know that you can land a real psychological blow here. Stuart Bingham could really rue that missed yellow with the rest, could
9.
cause him problems in terms of his confidence for the remainder of the match. Mark's problem looming large, that's that pink that's in a slightly awkward position there.
$14.
The moment of truth. Tricky little cutback. He needs both pink and black. Well, it looked tricky, but he's negotiated it with the minimum of fuss, even though he was on the stretch there. So although Williams left Bingham in with a great chance, Stuart Bingham has missed the yellow, and Williams has made him pay. Another dramatic frame. Now, Mark Williams might be wondering how he's 2-1 up in this match, but he is.
Thank you. Frame 4. Stuart Bingham to break.
Stuart Bingham might well have won all 3 frames in the event. He's 2-1 down to Mark Williams, who hasn't played well so far, but will be delighted with the score, if not the way he's playing. Halfway to a place in the round of 16 and a meeting with either Wu Yize, twice a ranking runner-up this season, or Pang Junxu. Jack Lazowski now 2-1 up on Zhang Anda, who's pulled a frame back on Discovery Plus, of course.
Well, that safety shot from Mark Williams has opened the black up now. This is a much better frame already, with the reds in open play, the black available, the pink is available into 1 or 2 pockets. So if one of these players can forge an opening, it could be a good opportunity that they're able to create. That's another attacking safety from Stuart, and a good one.
Bingham would need to make the final of this tournament if he's to feature in the upcoming Players' Championship. Otherwise, it'll be off to qualifying for the World Championship again.
Foul. Yes. Stuart Bingham 4.
Stuart will probably have the cue ball replaced, and Mark can certainly attempt the same shot again, trying to catch this red as thinly as possible. But if he were to miss it a second time, he would be warned by a referee, Camilleri. If he failed to hit a ball the third time, he would lose the frame. That's because he can see a ball full in the face, as you can see here. But Mark has decided instead just to run the cue ball behind these 2 reds onto the top cushion. But just look at the position of these reds. One mistake could be very costly here.
Well, that is a terrific pot. It really is. And Stuart Bingham badly needs this frame, not just to level the match, but he'll feel as though 2-1 behind is not really a reflection of the balance of play thus far. At times he's cued nicely. Of course, he made the century to level, albeit launched by a fluke. But the missed yellow in the previous frame was very expensive. So a chance to get that out of his system here and make something significant.
4.
That missed yellow in the previous frame with the rest would upset a lot of the lower ranked players, so much so it could cause them to lose this frame as well because they can't quite deal with it mentally. But, you know, great players that Stuart and Mark, of course, are. They're able to put these disappointments behind them much quicker than others can and focus on the task in hand much better.
One of only 11 players, Bingham, to have made in excess of 600 century breaks. It's a pretty exclusive club when you consider how many players have played this great game down the years.
Eleven. Seven. 18. 24. 25.
Those two reds near the right corner preventing the black from being available there. And the two reds just to the right of the black are preventing Stuart playing for the black into the left corner.
34.
But it's still a good table for Stuart. You can see all these reds are nicely out in the open. And he still has the pink
30.
to concentrate on. So I think Stuart would be disappointed not to level this match at 2-all here.
He's looked the better player, there's no doubt about that. He's made the century.
38.
But a couple of key errors have cost him 2 frames, so he'll be very motivated to make the very most of this chance and make it a best of 3 for a place in the round of 16.
39. 45.
Zhang Anda made a century, by the way, in frame 3 against Jack Lazowski, and he's in again in the 4th, bidding to level at 2-0, having lost the first 2.
$52. 53. 59. $60.
Well, this has been a good break from Stuart Bingham. And just needs this pink now to win it, barring snookers. Played for this red into the left corner. Wanted to be just high on it, and I think he is. So in potting it, he can stun the other red away from the black and be on the black.
67.
An impressive response, this, from Bingham. He would have been gutted to miss the yellow when the frame was at his mercy. He only needed up to the brown to clinch it. But straight back into the saddle here with another hefty contribution.
74.
He's doing all the scoring in this match.
75. From frame.
Annoyed to miss that one, but it doesn't matter. A break of 79, more than enough for Stuart Bingham to level up this match. All to play for, 2-all.
Thank you. Frame 5. Mark Williams to break.
Mark Williams has just broken off, and again, not the most convincing one. Half a chance here for Bingham to get back in. Oh, but he didn't get close to that one.
No, it was a bit of a missed strike from Stuart. I'm sure he was intending to get more backspin on the cue ball there to play for a bolt colour, but just struck almost the middle of the ball rather than just below the centre of it. And that's probably why he missed the red on the thin side. He may have potted it had he got the backspin intended.
Again, not the best from Williams. 4-ball cannon on the brown, so a hand on the table for Bingham.
I like that from a player when they play those attacking safety shots, because it's always a sign that they're feeling good about the game and they're confident. Stuart there has brought many reds into play, got a good cue ball, and has put pressure now on the safety shot of Mark Williams. That really was a beautifully played safety shot from Mark Williams. There was a lot of pressure on it, but he's played it so well. Stuart Bingham has a problem now. Can't see an easy return to bulk in actual fact. Mark was a little unlucky that that red finished so close to the right corner, but he does appear to have just about covered it. But can Stuart plant this red onto it? Oh, he could. And he played it with enough confidence to play out for a bulk colour. Is he on the brown? May just about be. Well, you can see he is on the brown, but he's so close to it and so straight on the brown, he can't really play for another red, so probably turn it down and play a safety shot. Well, he's rolled the brown in, and I'm wondering why.
5.
Okay, this red. Now, there's a red just to the right of the pink he's going to try to cut in here. Oh, he's knocked it in. And that's why he rolled the brown in. He left himself a shot to nothing. And played it beautifully.
6. Ten. Eleven. Seven.
Well, going nicely,
Bingham,
but
17.
an inexplicable miss really from Bingham, just as the yellow was, which cost him the third frame. He's played the better snooker, Bingham, without any shadow of a doubt, but he's making sufficient errors to keep Williams very much in contention.
One.
That's not the best.
No, but I think Mark will be happy enough with the position that he has on the blue. He could play a couple of shots here. He could play for the red closest to the pink, or he could run through for the red closest to the yellow. Because he knows that potting the blue is the important aspect of this shot, because he'll be playing for his next red and he's likely to be on it, so he must pot this blue at all costs. It's at full stretch, as you can see. I think we'll know whether this blue's in before Mark. And it's not.
In fact, it didn't hit the jaw, which is indicative of the fact that Williams isn't really in stroke, hasn't been throughout this match, and yet he has parity. He led 2-1, could easily have trailed 3-0.
One. Stuart Bingham, 1.
Another let-off for the 3 times world champion.
you can't really explain these mistakes. The previous red that he missed, he seemed to play it rather lackadaisically. And that brown there, I don't know whether it's a loss of concentration and lack of focus or what it is. But certainly Mark Williams must be as surprised as we are.
Williams' highest break of this match remains 30. Bingham has outscored him by the best part of 140 points, but Williams at the table with a chance of sorts to go one up with 2 to play. Still 2 each on table 2, but Zhang Anda is back in again early in frame 5, having trailed 2-0. He's made breaks of 112 and 69.
Mark Williams has always been known for winning frames like this when the balls are rather awkwardly placed. There are still 2 or 3 reds that he could get onto. He's got to get good position on his colour. And he hasn't quite managed it there. But he is left-handed. He could drop the pink in and play for this red near the left-hand side cushion.
15.
He's looking at the brown. I can't believe he'd take the brown. I think if he just drops his pink in, he'll have a shot at the red near the left-hand side cushion. If he plays the brown, he'll be coming off the side cushion first to clip it in, and you won't really know where the cue ball's likely to land.
$21. $22.
Well, he's dealt with that little problem very well. And for me, I think he needs to leave himself high on this red to the left corner to bring others into play and maybe promote the black into a potable position. So for me, I think he just needs to run through about a foot or so here. Now, can he screw into the reds and the black? Just has a lead of
28.
11 points, so could do with bringing reds into play here. Decided not to, though, and I'm a little surprised, although there is still one available into the right corner.
$35.
I don't think Mark wanted to be straight on that red. I think he wanted to bring other reds into play from that red, but couldn't do so.
$42.
He's done really well here, Mark Williams, to build this lead. If he were to pot the brown off the side cushion, there would be a semblance of a chance of getting onto a red. He certainly couldn't do so from the pink. But if he feels there's absolutely no chance that he could continue this break, it may be worth putting a colour safe and protecting that lead that he has.
Mark Williams, 43.
Williams' highest break of the match so far. And a handy 26-point lead.
I think Stuart is showing us why this match was never an easy one to predict, because you can never be sure how Stuart's going to perform these days. We've seen a little bit of everything from him, some of his great break building, but some of the easy misses that have become more prevalent in his game of late. Good safety from Mark Williams, but I just wonder if Stuart could attempt this red to the left corner. Long way out. Oh, what's going to happen here? Oh dear. And I think you could safely say the three remaining reds are conclusively tied up.
Yes, that's done nothing to facilitate a speedy conclusion to this particular frame, a vital one. Just a reminder of what's coming up later at the conclusion of this match after about a 15-minute break on table one. Sean Murphy against Ben Wollaston, who of course got a late call-up, very late actually, with Stephen Maguire pulling out of the tournament for medical reasons. And then later it'll be 3 times champion Judd Trump against Gary Wilson. Trump, of course, the world #1 by the proverbial country mile, and the reigning world champion in action later in the evening session against Matthew Selt. Wu Yize against Pang Junju also playing in that session, and John Higgins up against Ali Carter. Higgins, of course, fresh from his first ranking title for 4 years, having won the World Open, and Carter currently in the 16th and final spot for the upcoming Players' Championship.
Neither player wants to play a safety off the 2 reds next to the black. Now, did he catch the red first there or the blue? Okay, it's been tight. Yeah, but if you catch the right-hand red of the 2 together next to the black, the likelihood is the left-hand red would end up very close to the corner pocket. So it's risky, and that's why neither player wants anything to do with those 2 reds at the other end of the table. But Mark Williams here could force Stuart to perhaps play off those 2 reds if he can snooker this one. No chance of a re-rack here with the advantage that Mark Williams has in this frame. Although this could go on for a little while.
The impasse broken with the brown disappearing.
Mark Williams 4.
If the red doesn't pot into the corner pocket, then Stuart could just potentially just roll up to these two reds near the black. But if he feels that the red would be pottable next to the blue, then of course that shot wouldn't be on. That's a very good safety from Stuart, but in spite of that, the red that's closest to the left corner would be cuttable. It's a thin one, and the cue ball would be travelling back up towards the blue. I think Mark may have to take this on. No easy safety shot. Too thick, though.
One.
I can't see any way that Stuart can get onto a red from the blue unless he comes off the cushion first. Is he going to play a deep screw? Wow, what a shot this would be. Oh, that's amazing. There aren't that many players that would be capable of that. But I think the reaction of this cloth made that shot possible.
Seven.
Was too straight on the blue, so purposely held the blue spot, which means the blue has to go on the highest available spot, in this case the black spot, which is a help to Stuart. If he can just pot this red, he's almost certainty to be on blue or black. Or is he even attempting it? No, played the snooker in behind the pink and played it beautifully. Mark Williams coming to the table, still has that 18 points advantage. But maybe Stuart's the favourite to win this frame as a result of that snooker. what a result that was from Mark Williams. It was a good escape to catch the red full ball as he did, but what a bonus. Cue ball dropping in behind the yellow as it has.
Foul. Miss. Mark Williams 4.
A foul and a miss, but clearly this isn't going back. So a chance for Williams to retake the lead. He's already 22 in front.
One.
Well, that's not gone to plan. And not much has, if truth be told, for Williams. And yet here he is, favourite to lead 3-2. But an opportunity to close out the frame seems to have gone begging there.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. He hasn't had the best run of the ball, I don't think, Mark Williams, and he struggled a little bit. Stuart's had some wonderful opportunities and he's looked very good at times, but just when you think he's set to win a frame, he'll break down by missing something simple.
Missed a routine red and then a brown much earlier in this frame, Bingham. Missed the yellow in frame 3 when the frame was at his mercy. But he's got a reprieve here. He must have feared the worst when he left the red, but that's all Williams potted. So 23 the difference with the colours remaining.
Wow, you could see the cue ball rolling off there. Mark's tried to catch the thin edge of the yellow and it turned to our left from the camera shot that we had.
Quiet, please.
All sorts of oohs and ahs from the neighbouring table, with frame 5 having come down to the final black between Jack Lazowski and Zhang Anda. He's not having much joy with that yellow today, Stuart Bingham. 2 each, of course, on table 2. Lazowski led 2-0. But Zhang's made the big breaks in that one so far, as has Bingham in this one.
This yellow will cut in past the green into the left corner as we look. Must be worth considering. Oh, it's a great effort. He got so close to it that even with the pace that he played it at, it's remained right over the pocket for Stuart.
Two. Five.
Well, has a good angle on the brown to get position on the blue, but needs remaining 4 colours to pit Mark Williams and take a 3-2 lead. That's going to be a tall order from here, and he's overrun the cue ball. So I don't think he'll be tempting the blue now. Mark Williams just needs the blue with the 10 points advantage he has, so Mark doesn't have to worry about the awkward pink. But Stuart there in shot certainly does.
Stuart Bingham 9.
Jack Lazowski potted that decisive black, so now leads Zhang Anda 3-2 on table 2.
Great chance here for Stuart to double the pink and play for the black. Certainly won't be turning this opportunity down.
And could not have played it any better. Well, he's lost a couple of tight frames. He should have won, Bingham. Is he going to win this one that he should have lost? Brilliant. 2 outstanding pots to finish, and Stuart Bingham, perhaps deservedly on the balance of play, is now in front and within a frame of progression to the round of 16 here in Hong Kong. Mark Williams is going to have to win the last 2. It's a gripping match, and it's the 2015 world champion who leads by 3 frames to 2. Bingham, who might well have had this match won already, will nevertheless be happy to be in front now and within a frame of what would be a big victory for him. His form has been patchy, to put it mildly, this year so far. But a win over Mark Williams, just the tonic he's looking for as he builds up to the World Championship. And of course, if he doesn't win today, then that would end his hopes of getting to the Players' Championship for the top 16, and then he'd be focusing fully on the World Championship. No such worries for Williams, who's in all 3 Players' Series events, and that's vintage Williams, isn't it? Just floating a red in from distance.
Mark Williams needs to find some form from somewhere, because he knows now that any mistake that he makes could be his last.
9.
Left himself an angle to go into the pack of reds. Needs a bit of luck here. Oh, he's caught them beautifully. But he may be unlucky. Brought many reds
14.
into play, but he hasn't finished nicely on anything. But he still has a couple of reds that he could attempt. Problem is, having burst the pack of reds open the way he has, there's pressure on this red. Well played.
15.
Williams is one of those players who seems completely impervious to what's previously happened, good, bad or indifferent. He stays in the moment, just gets on with the job. One of the finest temperaments the game has ever seen. That's why he's one of the greatest that the sport has produced. Knocking on the door of 50 now. Still in the world's top 5. He's also had a very handy knack down the years of winning matches when he's not played his best, and certainly
19.
that would apply to today's performance to this point. But this is a chance to potentially force a deciding frame. His highest break remains just 43. Bingham, of course, has had a century. A further run of 75.
Mark just finished awkwardly on that previous red and did his level best to advance the cue ball up the table for choice of blue or pink. Well, he'll be disappointed to have missed that. It was very tricky, it has to be said, and there was a lot of pressure on it. So Stuart Bingham coming to the table now with the golden opportunity that he craved to go on and win this match.
Wow. Not just the fact that he missed it by the margin by which he missed it, but that's been the pattern today. There's been patches of excellence from Bingham, decorated with errors like that, glaring ones. Amazing, isn't it? Some of these pots that Stuart's been knocking in are 10 times harder than some of the balls that he's missed. Surely the red to the right corner is favourite here. And just drop it in for position on the blue. Although saying that, you can see he has a bit more angle to work with here than I thought he had. Could play for the black now. But you could see there Stuart's cueing. It was all over the place. The cue was going backwards and forwards on, well, anything but a lateral line. Maybe we're seeing some of the issues that he's having with some of these missed pots. Just isn't cueing straightly.
50. $16.
The red just above the black, slightly to the left, would be the red that he'd love to get onto, because then he could really bring the black into play. But he's overhit this by a mile. Is he on anything? Well, if he's on the red that's to the left of the black, he's been incredibly fortunate. And he is. Look at that. It's incredible. He was playing, I'm sure, for the red that I suggested, to the left of the black as we look there. And this is a really handy red to get rid of, because it brings the black into play for the left corner, and now he's able to cannon that red. He's really opened things up, so that poor positional shot has actually benefited Stuart.
$27. $28. $35.
There have been more than a few frustrations during this match, but to his credit, Bingham has not allowed that to phase him for any length of time. He's just got on with it, even though he has missed a hatful of balls that he'd be very disappointed with.
36.
And is he now going to emerge the winner, which on the balance of play you would say would be well merited? This chance coming by dint of Mark Williams missing
43.
that tricky little cut on the pink into the right centre.
Oh, yeah, Stuart looking at the right red here. He'd be running through others for position on pink or black, but there's no guarantee it'll work out perfectly. He does still have that red to the centre pocket, so he needs to be sure that this is the right shot to play.
44.
Oh, it's far from ideal. It's further away from this black than he really wanted to be. Does he have much angle to work with? Oh, he does. He can play for red into the right centre here. But we've seen him miss easier pots than this during the course of the match.
It's a tournament
51.
where he's enjoyed a number of deep runs, including, of course, all the way to the title match. Lost a thriller
52.
to Murphy, which went all the way in Llandudno back in 2016, and he's been in a couple of other semi-finals in this event.
Bit of a look of resignation on the face of Mark Williams there. I don't think he expects to return to the table now. Stuart Bingham just needs a red and a high-value colour.
I'm sure Williams will feel he's just not played well enough today to warrant victory. His highest break just 43.
$59.
So it was Williams who missed the pink to the opposite centre. This pink for the match, barring snookers for Bingham. And in it goes. And this time he's been able to cut out the surprising errors that he made earlier in the match, which were threatening his chances of progression today. But this red will surely seal the deal for him. Yeah, it always looked bound for the jaw, so it's not done yet.
65.
Only the one snooker.
Oh, yes, and with that red next to the pink, if Mark Williams can leave that one there, it's a virtually guaranteed tough snooker that he could leave Stuart Bingham in. But needs to get onto a high-value colour here, Mark Williams.
1.
Wanted to be on the black, he's just about on it. But of course, it's on the wrong side of the table, being left-handed. This has to find its target, otherwise I'm sure the concession will arrive.
8. Mark Williams 6.
He played that a little casually. It's a good snooker, but it could have been a very good snooker. Stuart will be delighted that this escape isn't more difficult than it is. I think Mark needs to pot this red. He can get onto the black very easily. Just needs the one snooker, so he doesn't need to keep it on the table and hope for a free ball.
1.
Pink will do.
Seven. Nine. Mark Williams 9.
Stuart didn't play that at all well. Somehow he's fluked a snooker. Well, you can just see the faintest of edges. He's swerving into it though. You'll see the action of the cue ball here. Just watch this. Delicate swerve around the blue.
Williams still chasing the one snooker he needs for a late twist in this match. Just overcooked it. Meanwhile, Jack Lazowski is in the balls and looking to seal a 4-2 win over Zhang Anda, who trailed 2-0, levelled at 2-all. But Lazowski took frame 5 on the black, and he's now got a great chance to finish the job. Winner of that to play the Judd Trump or Gary Wilson. They're in action first up in our evening session here in Hong Kong on day 1. And that'll be followed by the world champion Kyron Wilson against Matthew Selt.
Mark's had some superb opportunities to get good snookers and hasn't quite managed it. And he's left the gap through between pink and black there as well. But here's another good chance for Mark to get the snooker he requires. Again, another good chance to get the cue ball in behind the black, send the cue ball in behind the brown on the bolt cushion. All the green's a bit pacey. And the cue ball isn't carrying enough pace. Another chance for Mark Williams that's gone astray.
all over on table 2, and Jack Lisowski has sealed a 4-2 victory over Zhang Anda, so Lisowski through to play either Trump or Gary Wilson. The winner of this will play the Wu Yize or Pang Junzhu. They're in action on table 2 this evening in the second match. First up on table 2 tonight will be Higgins and Carter.
Now, can Stuart see enough of this green? He certainly can. A makeable green for frame and match. But he's missed it. Oh, and he's left a chance for Mark Williams to get the snooker he needs. Surely there's no gap there, is there? There was. You wouldn't believe it, would you?
Williams has had a few chances to get Bingham in trouble, hasn't quite been able to achieve it yet. But the longer this goes on, the more concerned Bingham will become that Williams is going to lay one really demanding snooker, which could turn this frame and indeed the match around.
Frame match, still Bingham.
All over now though, and Stuart Bingham deservedly comes through. He did pretty much all of the scoring, and yet it looked at one stage as though some of the errors he made could prove costly, but he's got over the line, made a century, and he'll be delighted to still be in the World Grand Prix. The former finalist in this event has knocked out the 3-times world champion Mark Williams by 4 frames to 2 to set up a meeting with either Wu Yize or Pang Junzhu. And next up on table 1, it'll be the Masters champion Shaun Murphy against Ben Wollaston.